Hello and welcome back. I am your scribe Sam, the mad poet of 1,000, or thousands in this case, soon to be the mad poet of 10,000s. We are on to volume 33. Yes, I do have a persistent cough. You will have to excuse me for that. I'll try and get through this as best as I can without killing myself. But I gotta get these done now that I've reached the next milestone, which is 4,000 poems. And hopefully I'll be cured by the time we get to the Villanelle volume, but which is going to be volume 40. But I digress. Let us get on with it. A solemn vow, yet I have no speech. Onward to the masses for a lesson to reach, held together by the semblance of string, cut from the fates and ruins it brings. Words never loud and clear, echoing in the distance, towards men who sing from wars of resistance. What is peace when it's not paved with blood? And who are we to judge the reasons for the flood? Call me a one-hit wonder covered in pages of flowing ink mixed with words of the sages, hidden among the plain places, while leaving behind countless traces. Bleeding ink, like the way I breathe. Poetry. Do you hear the silence of hidden emotional violence? Shh. We're suffering no internal fight. Have some fuel of gas for that light. Falling into a place I hate, looking at my wretched state, how could I ever truly live without the love that Jesus has to give? Battle with the self as insanity creeps in, questioning everything deep within, while trying to figure out who I am through an existential exam. Translucent crystal forming patterns in the ice, a frozen beauty. What have we sacrificed to obtain fame? Ever watched and never the same. Life is an entertainment and you are the show. Did you expect this to be how things would go? Battle with fatigue that doesn't go away. It is wisdom to know where it points. Late nights to lack of sleep day by day, now affecting the hearts and joints. Fall into a slumber when you're counting sheep. Fall into a slumber, into a peaceful sleep. Fall into a slumber, let death not come to reap. Fall into a slumber, you are ours to keep. Fall into a slumber. Everything has its place throughout life in our race. What will you offer and give to move past others and try to live? Things gone blurry and eyes can't see, signs in fog where strange things be, with each and every struggle to go on and claim that victory upon that dawn. Essence of the self that longs to die as we seek answers to the why, from the mind that fights with itself for the sake of its body and health. Falling stars at night, performing a midnight show for all those awake. Zoning out and into an unconscious state, no matter how we try, it becomes our fate, whether in sleep or death alike, when the Sandman comes in with his strike. On the clock and struggling to stay no. On the clock and struggling to stay awake, to not fall down for my soul to take, away from the light and the noise of the city, before waking up into reality. What a pity. Trapped in the chains in the cage you made, for the sake of the living and being paid. As the clock strikes when time is due, did we ever notice or have a clue? Blinking eyes while fading away into sleep. Sneak up on sleep you're welcome to try, with its ever-watching vigilant eye. And now you've gone unconscious right on down. Do you feel peaceful laying down on the ground? Been a while before caught in their eyes. Before the kiss that made them sigh, for memories held in places alone. Been a while before caught in their eye. Before the kiss that made them sigh. It's been a while before caught in their eye, before the kiss that made them sigh. From the memories held in places alone, while in the robes for their sins to atone. Fan into flame, the power's the same. Through the struggles of life, Fall into the flame, the power is the same. Through struggles of life, those struggles of life, those struggles for life is never the same, is never tame. Those struggles for life is never tame. There we go. Sometimes you gotta fix things after you made them. Those struggles for life is never tame. Peaceful at times before years of pain that swallow a man like a hurricane. Falling neon rain onto icy pastel streets. Winter's soft colors. What to play, with what to try, with what to write, with my fingers and eye. Across the keyboard with each keystroke, with all the thoughts and ideas to poke. Coming days of glory held within a laurel, placed upon the head like a crown of pride. Test not what I know or whom I speak, of all the secrets the shadows leak, lest you become a muted voice with them all, where in the darkness none can hear your call. Cry of the eagles soaring across the blue sky, the hunt now begins. Fighting waves of fatigue before my body drops, to set things in motion before everything stops, before transported into a place you do not wish to be, and in those dreams to see things you do wish not to see. With whims of women for the men they steal, away from relationships for pacts to deal. With powers that be, as they leave you broken, beware the velvety touch of those who have spoken. Thoughts of the mad who can understand why they do what they do upon the land, with all the experiments they put in place, while waiting for the heroes to go and give chase. Falling to pieces, sleep deprived, as the body groans. How long has it been since I've seen clearly, while on autopilot, holding on to things so dearly, looking at the works of my mind and hands, while following the pieces of all the strands. They long to be slow and tormented, yet where am I, questioning everything right under the sky, as with the flick of the wrist and the words come out, summoned from the void like an ethereal shout. Stuck in the middle, and I cannot see the things I do or the effects there'll be. Yet I often sit there with a pause, pondering if there ever would be such a cause. Suddenly, smiles upon the face, in good cheer. Give me weapons, give me breath, give me all the time I have left, for the sake of vengeance, for my cause, despite the system and all their laws. Frustration creeps into my mind, hearing all the words of fools, all while staying willingly blind, enabled by parents and corrupt schools. How can one obey the laws of the land if they go against the laws of God? Brought like a gotcha within your hand, your argument, I'm afraid, is rather flawed. He whose mind is as slow as a sloth knows very little of the world around him. To you, O great seer and dreamer of dreams, who watches and understands the stars at night, with wisdom and thoughts like an owl, and understanding of the tales of Anansi, who brings in ideas as fast as a cheetah. Your thoughts are greater than ours as we watch you teach new wonderful ways. You bring unto the children different paths, and teach hunters ways to hunt like a jaguar. O mighty dreamer, many lessons are held in your tales, your wisdom hidden from those with no understanding. We give you our praise in many songs, and thank you for all new things you have taught. Mighty is your mind, and mighty are your ways. Let us give thanks to the dreamer of dreams. Waves of righteousness from ways of restraint, rules to live through by ways of a saint, under the guidance of the word of life, so as to be able to go through all kinds of strife. Ways of passion, have you got the time? Let it be ignored by desires of the sublime. When your body is in pleasure, but the soul is rotting away, is it worth it to suffer in your eternal decay? Excuse the moments of insanity when the voices echo in your head. Excuse the moments of insanity and their desires for you to be dead. Excuse the moments of insanity. Don't entertain that coming dread. Excuse the moments of insanity when intrusive thoughts wish to be fed. Excuse the moments of insanity, the moments hallucinations lay in your bed. Excuse the moments insanity, the moon has begun to bleed. Excuse the moments of insanity. Be careful of the things that begin to feed. Excuse the moments of insanity. Noises too heavy as blood trickles down, as they stain that pure white gown, like a ghostly echo that begins to creep. For what is rest when the dead don't sleep? Sunshine valleys and a broken heart, under clouds of gray and a new place to start, caught between paths of light and dark, not knowing where to go and leave your mark. Careful what you ask for it might just creep in. Right on through that open door and allowing danger to begin. The warrior's pride at the edge of their honor, shone with discipline. All these thoughts haunting the mind, if they were lights, they would leave one blind, like a solar flare across the night sky, and all the ideas they would supply. You stand your ground, but the ground is cracking by the force of weight of all who come in attacking. Only time will tell how soon all will fall before being aided by any manner of help you call. They call me a fool by the truth I see, while tasting the honeyed lies like a devotee. Caught by the crimson blood we bleed, chained down never to be freed. When everything burns in passion, as the flesh gives in. Perfume of flowers with scents across the spring they go right. Early arrivals of insects tripping throughout the countryside. Never shall I have an absence of sources to draw upon. There is an acrostic here. This is an acrostic Sijo. I did put an acrostic into the Sijo form. Kudos to anybody who gets it. Shall I ever go numb with the words I write, like an automated machine with no end in sight, all for the sake of a goal to reach, for the future to overlook and never teach? What reasons do I have to wait for a muse in order to take charge and light my own fuse, to understand the ways that I work and tick as I begin to produce from the ether ever so quick? Handful of cake shall I allow you to eat, made from your hands as you take your seat, as idioms invade outside of a figurative state. Why should you have to suffer and wait? Boredom enters the mind and I begin to create, all for the sake of escaping the state. Ideas and words begin to flow onto pages, to last for a time into its ages. What do you run from? What do you desire? As you stand at the edge, staring into the fire, what will you be willing to sacrifice to pay the cost, to pay that price? I have but one goal to go and reach. Although I may announce I shall not preach, I shall let my work speak for itself, and perhaps it shall lead to the path of wealth. They call it rather delicious, in acts some might call vicious, when a kitten begins to attack and bite, as it tries to wiggle away with all its might. Come at me with the start of a smile. Who am I for them to seduce and beguile? With attention gathered and now feeling vindicated, while my ego begins to feel rather elated. Obsession bordering on along the streets of the mad, of all the desires we wish we had. What lines are you willing to cross, to leave behind in a matter of loss? They say we're going down as we're falling, and games many would come and find appalling. One by one they all almost die, and for the sake of fun, no one questions why. Shooting stars at night, auspicious signs from the sky, heaven's prophecy. Okay, so it's not. Okay, so it's the same. Okay, anyways. Must poetry rhyme? Well, allow me to come in chime. It depends on the kind, along with the mind of the poet who wrote it. Structure is not always restricting, and being free can be conflicting. There are many a form and many a style, all of which to learn can be short or take a while. Like the prose of a pro written with pen and ink, more thought is required than one may think. Yet, shall I stick to one system and let things grow stale? Like moldy bread and a cup of bitter ale? What refreshing water shall that bring? For I desire to have my poetry soar and sing. Am I mad or merely disappointed at all the craft that has gone and appointed, wasting away their potential with the hands they write, stuck in their system, never trying with all their might? Fall into the system you've created, to leave the cages built rather satiated. The doors are open, but you wander blind. Perhaps one day you'll come to see and find. Along the ship that sails at sea, traveling wherever it may go and be, by the shores of the ocean deep, what do ships dream of when they sleep? Hands full of items, what will you drop when by the road someone yells stop? Bags in the hands, but they begin to fall. Which do you catch between them all? State of delirium and the mind goes crazy. When your head and eyes feel rather hazy, waiting for the moment things become clear. So for the time, might as well as come and stay here. Wishing well, where hopes are tossed in, what's its cost? Desires held at the edge of sleep, from those who cry and weep. Stillness a lesson for those who will hear, drawing everything coming near. There are questions I ask of the paths that I take, laying in bed, whether in dreams or awake. Questions held at the edge of my mind, yet often I feel like I'm scrambling blind. Down for a moment, call it a hit and run. Come and look at what my mind has done. Temperance in nature for it to create. Blink and you'll miss it, but maybe that's fate. I should put a comment there. Sacrifice, whether good or bad, lead somewhere. Moments of distraction that guide us away, where time becomes a void every day, before we stare up and wonder where all of it's gone, while into the vice of our Babylon. Tempting desires falling into the hands of lust, reaching out hands to sickly sin, and who can we trust? Crying for mercy from above for this repentant heart, then cleaning oneself off before going off to a new start. Nothing is ever the same at the end of day. With all the games we go and play, escapism taking the reins as it rises, coming at everyone in different disguises. Blood-red sakura flowing under a blood-root moon. Superstitions rise. The silent mountain where crystal waterfalls flow down to the village where time itself has slowed down, bringing farmers serene peace. Cursing men while wondering why they are in pain, self-awareness gone where there's nothing to gain, and not realizing they've been taught the art of hate as they continue to wonder while they're in a lonely state. Pay the debt or begin to bleed, a price to pay for the cost of your deed. All actions have consequences, don't bother to run, as many will know all that you have done. Coolness of the bed, when we sleep, a special comfort. Ages of kingdoms men once did know, of grand structures they all would show, gone now through time's passing flow, no more crowns to bestow, or as all are brought low, as we all know, of our loss and the cost. Feelings difficult to swallow, while feeling rather hollow, passing the time through lust and sin, never questioning yourself within. Stare into the mirror, do you hate what you see? With the cracks of your soul of who you wish to be, there's merely one foot to place in front and walk, to obtain all of your goals you once did talk. Invisible chains while trapped inside, thinking we're free in the illusions they lied, while others slowly begin to awaken before quickly becoming forsaken. When we tried, when they all lied, as they went and defied, like tales of Jekyll and Hyde, before going and tossing all of us aside, when all we tried to do was guide. Acts of crimes for one to come and accuse, when sly hands pass by, where we can't refuse. So be quick with the wit and let it all slide, and let conflict to come in and collide. Facing the pain we all find appalling, while trying to see ways to go stalling, but time cares not as it goes on past, so figure out a plan that will last. There's nothing new under the sun, said the wisest man upon a throne. Through thousands of years, what has been done, all of which has not been discovered alone. Through romance, thoughts of romance and love, like petals flowing down from above. Yet here I am, looking at empty hands, pondering all of my simple demands. Pondering all of my simple demands. The flowing river, through the essence of the spring, life begins to rise. Intrusive thoughts invading our mind, like telling us to rob a man so blind, of words spoken from the worst thoughts inside, things which should never go and be tried. Voices erupting out of nowhere, thinking we're hearing things here and there, voices that quickly call our name. Should we answer, would we ever be the same? We burn time like it's expendable of a system we don't see as dependable. So what then shall we now go and do with the presence left behind like a peaceful clue? Into peaceful dreams while sleeping within a cool bed. For the sake of sanity shall we deny ourselves sleep before the weariness comes to take and keep, now dazed and confused, not knowing who we are, while staring into the void from afar. Step in to remember one moment too late, while after the memory comes back in perfect state, as we then let out a curse inside, despite all of our struggle as we went and tried. We stand up and sway side to side, not unlike a drunk man who comes inside, before we go and fall into our bed, falling asleep as we finally rest our head. Matters of practice for those willing, for the pages that need to be filling, brought together by talent and skill, while taking pauses to go and refill. There we go. And that will be it for today. It'll be volume 33, and next one will be volume 44. And you know how this is going to go. It's going to go all the way up to 40, and then things are going to be a little weird, a little quiet, at least, request or whatever come in, or I react to something. Who knows? But until then, see you guys for the next one.